Welcome back, DCS Hacks fans. It's Cabby599 on Garf's channel again with part 3 of making radio calls like a boss for AI ATC using VoiceAttack. Now, in this one's going to be IFR Recoveries, but one thing I will not be discussing is how to read instrument approach plates or how to fly instrument approaches or anything to do with terps. Okay, you can find that stuff on YouTube and learn it yourself. We're not going to cover it here. But first, I need to make a correction from Chapter 2. It was pointed out that I failed to mention the more proper way to check in with Blackjack. And this was the original slide. The one thing I left out is that normally, because at the time we were at flight level 180, you check in with your altitude. So it would have been Blackjack, Dragon 4-1, flight level 180, request gate 3. The phrase with you, checking in, checking out, and RTB, return to base, those tend to be slang terms that we use in the military. So really the more appropriate way is to notify them of the altitude that you're at and which gate you're requesting. So those are the ones that you can use. However, any of these VoiceAttack will accept. Even if you say checking in, checking out, RTB. You can also say exiting gate 3 or departing at gate 3. And those are all perfectly acceptable for VoiceAttack. Now, after NATSIF Sally, we're going to be contacting Nellis approach, but first with Sally, remember we're doing everything IFR. The big thing to remember is that NATSIF Sally needs to know whether you're coming back IFR or VFR and the gate that you're coming from. So it'll be NATSIF Sally Dragon 4-1, RTB, IFR, gate 3. So those are the important bits. You'll be flying through the Sally quarter from gate 3, and as you're doing so, you'll eventually get pushed to approach control on your way to ARCOE, and actually approach will send you to ARCOE and have you report ARCOE and have you descend to 15,000 in our case. Incidentally, ARCOE is the 358 radial at 30 DME off of the Nellis TACAN channel 12. When you are pushed to approach control, all you really have to do is check in with them, and you could do that by any one of those phrases, also to include the flight level that you happen to be at, because you're supposed to be at flight level 180 in our case. Okay? If you're having trouble finding ARCOE, you could request a vector to ARCOE, or if you're coming from the west through the lee quarter, you can ask for vectors to the Dudby fix. You're going to be told to report that fix, whichever fix that you're going to. And when you get there, make sure you say approach Dragon 4-1 is ARCOE, at ARCOE, reporting ARCOE. Any one of those three phrases are acceptable. And when you do that, it's going to generate approach saying say request. At that point, you can request any one of the three approaches that are available to you over there. Approach Dragon 4-1, request ILS, or localizer, or TACAN. You can also say request vectors ILS localizer TACAN, or just say vectors ILS localizer TACAN. Approach Dragon 4-1 is RTB.
Dragon 4-1 Nellis approach, fly heading 207. Descend and maintain 15,000. Maintain current squawk. Report ARCOE.
Dragon 4-1 heading 207, descending to 15,000.
Dragon 4-1 Nellis approach, say request.
Approach Dragon 4-1, request TACAN.
Nellis approach, fly heading 161. Descend and maintain 6,000. Vectors to the tack-in, runway 21 left.
Dragon 4-1 heading 161, 6,000. All right. And from there, we're up at ARCOE, up at the top of the screen. You're going to be initially given, in our case, you're going to be initially given a heading towards approximately where the dry lake bed is, the Casper Lake bed. And from there, you'll be given a intercept heading, 30-degree intercept heading, heading 180 to the instrument final approach into Nellis. Okay? At about 10 miles, you get pushed to tower, and you can either report 10 miles on the TACAN or the ILS localizer, whichever one you do, or you can even wait until you get to the final approach fix, which is what I usually do, and I'll just call final approach fix gear down. No matter which one you do, the 10 miles, ILS or TACAN, or final approach fix gear down, you'll still be told to report 5-mile final, and that's where you'll get your winds and your clearance to land or touch and go, whichever. Usually it's the option. When you contact tower, you're just checking in, so you can call final approach fix gear down, or you can call 10 miles localizer or 10 miles ILS, 10 miles TACAN, whichever one you like. Either way, you're going to get to report 5 miles, and at the 5-mile point, about 5 DME, just call Tower Dragon 4-1, 5 miles gear down. You'll be given the winds, your sequencing, and also your clearance for your touch and go or your option, whichever. If you happen to decide that you're going to go missed approach or need to go missed approach, it's going to be Tower Dragon 4-1 is missed approach, going missed approach, executing missed approach, whichever one of those 3 phrases you'd like to use. If you want to go back to radar, it's just Tower Dragon 4-1 back to radar. You can say request back to radar as well.
Dragon 4-1, Nellis approach. Turn right heading 180. Maintain at or above 4,400 until established on the TACAN final. Cleared for the approach.
Dragon 4-1, heading 180, 4,400 until established, cleared for the approach.
Dragon 4-1, radar service terminated. Contact tower on UHF channel 4.
Dragon, woke up. Tower Dragon 4-1, final approach fix, gear down.
Dragon 4-1, Nellis Tower, report 5 miles. Your number 1 for runway 21 left.
Dragon Wilco. Tower Dragon 4-1, 5 miles, gear down.
Dragon 4-1, check gear down. Runway 21 left. Wind is 019 at 10. Cleared for the option.
Dragon 4-1, cleared option. Now, if you are flying the approach and you decide that you want to go back to radar and you request back to radar, tower will initially give you a crosswind turn climbing to 6,000 feet. Then they'll push you to approach control, which will bring you up to 10,000 feet, and you'll fly a basically standard rectangular radar pattern, okay, until they get you to a radar base, roughly around 15 DME. That'll be a 120 heading, and then to the 30-degree intercept, 180 heading, on to final approach. Then be pushed to tower again. And you can, once again, either use the 10 miles gear down or the final approach fix gear down. And then you'll still have to report the 5-mile final. You'll get the windage and clearance for your landing of whichever landing you use. If you're coming from the lee corridor from the west, originally you're going to be basically given vectors towards Dudby, and then from there you're going to be vectored to the radar base of the radar pattern. If you happen to be southeast of Nellis, then you'll get basically the same kind of vectors on the opposite side. However, in real life, this is less than optimal because you've got McCarran International Airport south of Nellis there. So there's going to be air traffic in that general vicinity. So in real life, they're going to try to keep you to the north and west.
Dragon 4-1, say intentions.
Tower Dragon 4-1, request back to radar.
Dragon 4-1, turn right heading 300. Climb and maintain 6,000. Contact Nellis approach. UHF channel 6.
Dragon 4-1, Wilco. Approach Dragon 4-1, request vectors ILS.
Dragon 4-1, Nellis approach. Fly heading 300. Maintain 10,000. Vectors for ILS, runway 21 left. Dragon 4-1, Nellis approach. Turn right heading 030. Maintain 10,000.
Approach Dragon 4-1, right 030, 10,000.
Dragon 4-1, Nellis approach. Turn right heading 120. Descend and maintain 5,000.
Approach Dragon 4-1, heading 120, descending to 5,000.
Dragon 4-1, Nellis approach. Turn right heading 180. Maintain at or above 4,200 until established on the localizer. Cleared ILS approach for runway 21 left.
Approach Dragon 4-1, 180, 4,200 till established, cleared for the approach. Tower Dragon 4-1, 10 miles ILS, touch and go.
Dragon 4-1, Nellis Tower, report 5 miles. Your number 1 for runway 21 left.
Dragon 4-1, Wilco. Tower Dragon 4-1, 5 miles, gear down, option.
Dragon 4-1, check gear down. Runway 21 left. Wind is 019 at 10. Cleared for the option.
Tower Dragon 4-1, cleared option. If you happen to be flying the approach, getting vectored around, and you get the 120, 180, intercept the final approach, shoot your instrument approach, and you decide to, or happen to need to, execute a missed approach, you just call Tower Dragon 4-1 as missed approach. You're going to be given initially a vector to fly that published missed approach, and then contact approach control on channel 6, where they're going to give you an initial vector, and they're going to expect you to basically fly the whole missed approach procedure all the way up to the 358 radial at 30 DME, which is ARCOE. If you don't fly basically the missed approach as it's published, you'll probably get some kind of a malfunction with AI ATC, give you some kind of weird heading, and have you fly until you, with a bogus vector, until you run out of fuel and have to eject. So just fly the missed approach, fly the headings and the altitudes that you're given, and when you're approaching ARCOE up there, you'll eventually get the 120 heading, which is your radar base, and then the 180 dogleg heading to intercept the final approach for the instrument approach that you request. Tower, Dragon 4-1 is a missed approach.
Dragon 4-1, execute published missed approach. Contact Nellis approach, UHF channel 6.
Dragon 4-1. Approach, Dragon 4-1 is missed approach.
Dragon 4-1, Nellis approach. Radar contact. Fly heading 359. Intercept the 358 radial. Climb and maintain 15,000. Say request.
Dragon 4-1 heading 359, climbing to 15,000. Approach Dragon 4-1, request vectors TACAN.
Dragon 4-1, vectors for TAC 21 left. Fly heading 003.
Approach Dragon 4-1 heading 003, climbing to 15,000.
Dragon 4-1, Nellis approach. Fly heading 120. Descend and maintain 6,000. Vectors to the TACAN. Runway 21 left.
Approach Dragon 4-1 heading 120, descending to 5,000.
Dragon 4-1, Nellis approach. Turn right heading 180. Maintain at or above 4,400 until established on the TACAN final. Cleared for the approach.
Approach Dragon 4-1 heading 180, 4,400 until established, cleared for the approach.
Dragon 4-1, radar service terminated. Contact tower on UHF channel 4.
Approach Dragon 4-1, Wilco. Tower Dragon 4-1.
Dragon 4-1, Nellis Tower. Report 5 miles. Your number 1 for runway 21 left.
Tower Dragon 4-1, Wilco. Tower Dragon 4-1, 5 miles, gear down, full stop.
Dragon 4-1, check gear down. Runway 21 left. Wind is 019 at 10. Cleared for the option.
Tower Dragon 4-1, cleared option.
Dragon 4-1, welcome back. Exit runway via taxiway. Alpha, contact ground for parking.
And that's it for the demo video, guys. Just to reiterate, for AI ATC, there's really not a requirement to do the readbacks like I was doing them. In real life, you would have to do that. And in AI ATC, I just continue to do that as a habit pattern to maintain that habit pattern. But while I'm flying these and getting these vectors and so forth, when I do the readbacks, I generally don't key the mic. That way it doesn't confuse VoiceAttack and cause any weird anomalies. So just something to keep in mind. And that's really all I have for Chapter 3. Hope to see you guys soon. We'll have this AI ATC out very soon. We're finishing it up right now for a beta test for people. And how about giving Garfy there a thumbs up and a subscribe if you haven't already. And then we'll see you guys in the next video, maybe on how to install AI ATC. Don't forget,